Hey, I'm Justine Reese, vocal empowerment coach, voice actor, and host of Claim Your Voice. If you've ever felt shut down, scared to speak up, told you were too much, or just hated hearing your own voice on playback, you're in the right place. I'll be bringing on experts, creators, and fascinating humans who help people transform from the inside out. Got a topic you want to tackle? Reach out, because helping people claim their voice is my favorite thing. This podcast isn't just about how you sound, it's how you feel about your voice. Visualize it, vocalize it, monetize it. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to this edition of Claim Your Voice. I am so grateful and so excited to have the beautiful Alisha Das with us today, who has a lot of exciting things coming up, including a new book that we're going to talk about. But first, before we get started, I'm just going to read a very brief introduction, then we're going to get right into it. So for over 30 years, Dr. Alisha Das has been at the forefront of spiritual intuition and angelic communication. She's regarded globally as an authoritative voice on angelology, in case some of you may not have known there was something called angelology. Her ability to perceive and articulate the angelic language has positioned her as a sought-after luminary in spiritual circles. She's also an ordained minister and master practitioner in spiritual psychology, healing, and consciousness clearing. She hosts the radio, YouTube, and podcast show, Live Your Love, which draws all kinds of wonderful people to her audience. And I had the joy of meeting you in person at the premiere of Pillars of Power recently, where you are appearing in that really wonderful, incredibly impactful film. And I am just so happy to have you on the podcast today. So welcome.
Oh, thank you. I am absolutely delighted to be here. And we had such a nice connection. And I know will be the first of many collaborations. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Alisha. Having followed and trying to educate myself on some of the ways that you got started as a young child, and I think I heard you were raised by doctors, and we have that in common. I am the daughter also of a doctor.
Oh.
And it's interesting when you are raised in sort of a Western medicine, practical way of thinking, and you have an intuition somewhere as a child, but you don't get to tap into it so much until later in life. And I know you've told the story many times, but can you just bring us into that evolution that started so long ago?
Yeah, it wasn't just both of my parents. It was my siblings. It was grandparents. It was step siblings and step parents. It's like a disease in my family. And I was pre-med. But at a very young age, I started hearing the songs of angels, the language of angels. They were speaking to me in their own language. And that opened up spiritual sight for me. That was very unusual in rural Indiana in those days. But it scared people because I was telling them things about themselves and myself that I couldn't know, things about life, and describing childbirth in great detail when I was 5. So it's because I was tapping into universal intelligence through these monolithic angels. And I did learn that rural Indiana is not exactly the place to share your spiritual awarenesses. But once I left home at 18, my scientific brain or predilection was still helpful, because while I very much learned to bypass the brain or transcend the mind, it gave me this unflagging desire to know that what I was doing once I started doing the spiritual work and working with people and reading records and all of that, all the very metaphysical stuff, I wanted to see that I was getting results, that I was creating change, that I was facilitating lasting transformation. I wanted empirical evidence. And so I got a doctorate in spiritual science, and still so much of what I do, I'm testing and refining. And that's why big reason it took me 30 years to write that book, to write the book that's launching, oh my goodness, Saturday.
Right.
And because I really wanted to make sure everything in it was very vetted and could work, and that people could get their angelic name from a meditation and from a book. And so That scientific predilection, I had a wonderful connection with Dr. Irvin Laszlo, who really brought quantum physics to the forefront. And it's people think you can't have a nice marriage of intellect and spirituality, of the physical and the metaphysical, but you really can, as long as your brain is a great servant. It's not a good master, but it is a great servant.
I absolutely love that quote. I've heard you say that before, and that really is going to stick with me that your brain is not a good servant, but wait, say it again, because I think I
Your
just,
brain is a great servant,
it's a
terrible
great
master.
servant, terrible
Great
master.
servant,
So,
terrible
so
master.
true. And to translate that into a very simplistic form, that our brains are not always working in our favor, right? Our brains often
Right.
wake up and our first thoughts are negative. And I still think I'm grateful for some of the tools I've gotten both through 12 step and spiritual practices to learn to change that. So, angelic ancestry is really like a beautifully bold phrase. And
It is.
simple terms, what does it mean? And how do people know when they're touching it?
Yes, beautiful question. So, angelic ancestry, and it's so funny because they gave me the title, and then I'm like, but I'm going to have to explain that. And it's true, but it's people also that as I've been launching the book, I've had tons of podcasts and TV shows and radio shows, and I'll share this precept that I'm about to share with you. And I fully expected for the first several that, the hook, the proverbial hook that pulls you off the stage,
Yes.
fully expected that. And instead, what I'm getting is people are like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Now I get it. And I'm like, really? Because I thought that you'd think it was weird. And they're like, no, I do think it's weird. But it also makes sense. It's resonant. I don't know why we haven't been talking about this before. And so that's really fulfilling for me to see that because I've been sharing it for decades now. But to share it in a wider scope and the general public going, yeah, that makes sense. So here's the weird concept that I have, as mentioned, well vetted. The angelic realm predates the human realm. I am explaining what angelic ancestry means, by the way.
I got it.
By millennia, it's a very ancient realm. It's much bigger than the human realm. The human realm, the human earth, is a latter day experiment. Many spiritual masters call it that. And you can tell it's a little rough around the edges, right? Yeah. So
Earth School is what one of my mentors calls
the
it.
earth school is indeed a difficult school to master.
Yeah.
And as a little tangent, at one point I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to get this place. And then what I heard is you don't have to master Earth. You have to master your attitude on Earth, to master your mindset, to master your spirit on Earth. I went, oh, okay, that I think I can do. And so the angelic realm, very ancient, beautiful realm, right? Predated Earth. Angels evolved into archangels, but it was taking millions of years. Why? Because angels are in a collective, they don't have free will. They're all one, right? Angels are born to where we evolve. We evolve to knowing God with every breath. We evolve to knowing we're all one, right? Angels evolve to archangels, and then they have individual souls that we're born with. Then they have free will that we are born with. Angels are always in surrender to God's will, right? We have free will. Archangels have free will. And then this radical act of faith, archangels started incarnating onto the human realm, onto the human plane, to learn more about free will, right? But when we incarnated here, we had to forget the angelic realm because this realm is so difficult compared to that. It's heaven. It's heaven, right? It's heaven. And so we had to forget it. So we would engage here. And so we wouldn't try to drop the body to go back there, to go back to heaven, right? So we forgot it. Now we're in this wondrous time, and there's many astrological and metaphysical confluences that explain why we're in this wondrous time where the angelic and the human realms are now open to each other, where we can now remember our angelic heritage, our angelic ancestry, our lifetimes in the angelic. And it's not about remembering every lifetime, it's about remembering our gifts from the angelic. divine remembrance, all the things we associate with angels, beauty, faith, grace, compassion, and bringing that all present into our human life, which expedites our spiritual evolution. Because angels never forget God. Angels are absolutely surrendered. Angels are always cognizant of trying to do that which is best for the collective, for all of us, rather than just selfish interest, right? So as we connect to our angelic ancestry, it's really, the name of the book was Your Archangelic Ancestry, but nobody could say archangelic. So I changed it to Your Angelic Ancestry.
It is, as someone who works with words and people, there's a lot of hard consonants to match up there for sure.
Exactly. And so as we connect to our archangelic ancestry, it's not about going there, back there and squeezing into our pastel robes and praising God, whom we never forget. It's about bringing it all present, letting our wings expand, which is a poetic way of saying opening to all of who we've ever been and all of who we ever will be, because angels live beyond time and space.
Okay. So
that's the hardest concept we'll talk about this whole time now. Now it's easy.
Yes. And have you found that because of your background, both as a doctor, that you do combine like science, that you're looking for evidence and you've got the spiritual realm that people, do you find, take you more seriously? We also want to tap into your background in television and film. How has that helped navigate what you're doing now with angels and ancestry and bringing these things together?
It's helped. Both things have helped because I've had to learn to meet people in an intellectual place. Because yeah, I don't want you to leave your brain at the door. I want you to do what worked for you, to check it out, to discern, right? And I think because I'm saying, don't believe me, make it your own. Go experience it. Then your mind will understand it. And also coming from someone with a very strong mind, that the difference between my mind and a pit bull is lipstick, right? So I understand skepticism, doubt, all the arguments, right? That people used to say, you should have been a lawyer. Thank God I wasn't, only because that would have been scary. And so I can speak to people and speak to that part that goes, wait, these are my 48 doubts. And I'm like, I get it. Don't leave your mind at the door. Don't be cultic. Don't just follow, right? But also at some point, you've got to transcend that to experience what we're talking about. Because once you experience it, then you know it. And after that comes the mental understanding.
So, is there an experiment that we could even try, or someone sitting in traffic on a normal Tuesday that is curious but cautious or maybe slightly skeptical, something we could even do right now? What would be an experiment that we could do if that's not too bold of an ask?
No. First of all, I would not suggest they try it is sitting in traffic until they get really used to it.
Okay. Yeah, that could be dangerous. I could see.
Can be a little dangerous, but so I would suggest they pull over. Once they get used to it, they can I do it sitting in traffic all the time. So, but not for a while. So once they pulled over, so let's just take a moment and just connect. Just, take that divine pause. And in the silence, I can tell you from 35 years of professional work, from a lifetime of experience in this, there are always angels with you. So let's start with your guardian angel. Now, here's what I'm going to ask, that you just allow your mind to be open. Don't believe me, but just be a little curious, because you see, angels go through all religions. More people believe in angels than believe in God or a higher power, right? So there's got to be something to it. So if there is something to it, what if you could experience it right now? Now, I want you to remember that you sense angels with your spiritual sensing. You're not going to hear their voice as clearly as you hear my voice right now. So I want you to just, in this pause, be aware you have a guardian angel who was with you before your first breath and will be with you until after your last breath, and even has been with you very likely through many lifetimes. So often they're on your right, but they might be in front of you. So just be aware of, where are they in this moment? And you go, I don't know. Trust yourself. Trust you are trustworthy. Trust your attunement. Where do you sense them? And now that you know where they are, realize they're mostly formless. You might see an image. You might more just sense them. It might be an image of the most gorgeous ocean, and you're like, how can that be my guardian angel? Because remember, they're formless, but they are knowable. So to say today, you might see a beautiful ocean of light, and tomorrow you might see a hummingbird. They come to us in symbols. So what are you seeing right now?
Orange and pinks, like what my background is actually, even though I'm not
Ooh,
looking at it right now.
orange and pinks,
It almost
beautiful.
looks like a sunset.
And so I want you to enter that sunset. So enter that sunset, and everybody who's listening, whatever you're seeing, go into that image. Go into it. Remember, we're doing something spiritual. The laws of physics in the physical realm don't apply here. So go into that sunset. Breathe in that sunset. Take a deep breath in and breathe in all the love of all the angels and allow that love to suffuse you like the most gorgeous, beautiful, warm sunset. Just breathing in that beautiful pink and orange. And everybody, let's say you saw an ocean, breathe in that ocean, that holy water, whatever it is, breathe it in. And now in this space, what do you hear inwardly? This is spiritual hearing. What do you, Justine, hear inwardly?
To listen more intuitively that I know the answers I seek. And when I doubt that, to get quiet and go within. And
Beautiful. Very clear. So Justine heard a message, right? So in this next moment of silence, I want you who are listening, what do you hear? Do you hear a message to you? Like she heard a very clear message, or are you hearing perhaps a inner music or an inner natural sound? So we'll have a moment of silence and just want you to listen. And then I want you to breathe in that message. And now, lastly, I want you to just sense what's the feeling with your guardian angel? What feeling are they giving you? Really, I want you to open to receive even more, realizing the worthiness is not even relevant here. You are worthy because you breathe in and out and you're a child of God. What is the feeling that guardian angel is amplifying for you? And so, Justine, what is that feeling that's present?
to trust all the things that are happening right now and to let go of the things that are not happening, that are feeling like struggle, pushing boulders.
Mhm.
Just let the things that are working continue to be working.
Yeah. And if we needed to put a name on that feeling, might it be clarity or peace or letting
Peace,
go? Yeah.
peace and letting go. And if I'm being truly honest, there's been some sadness around experience some grief around the death of my father and letting go and realizing that both parents are gone, which feels otherworldly in many ways. And that I get to revisit the grief and the joy anytime I want.
Yeah. And you can also, not right now, because I would suggest you do it in a quiet moment by yourself, but you can also say, bring guardian angel, or you might want to ask for an archangel or even a great archangel. Bring my mother and father present in a way that I can perceive them. Now, and surely it will happen and it does happen. But we forget to ask in a way I can perceive, in a way I can receive for my highest good, right? And so now that guardian angel, I see her as her with you, but they don't have gender, by the way, but we relate to them more intimately, calling them a her or a him. I see her just putting her wings around you, and she's put her wings, she's standing behind you, putting her wings around you and over your heart. And there's light coming from her wings, healing your heart of that loss of your parents. I'm just reminding you that you're always their child, that their love always surrounds you, and they're with you any moment you're ready to turn to them. And they're so proud of you. And your father's doing something that would be like the equivalent of tickling you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Wonderful.
Yeah. So just take a moment and Justine and everyone, just breathe in the love of your guardian angel. And just tell them, of course, you're going to express thanks. And just tell them, you know what? I'm going to tap into you a little bit more often. And I want you to remind me, send me signs, remind me in the middle of the night that I'm not alone, that you're right here with me. Remind me when the sun is shining in a particular way of the beauty of life, that I don't have to wait for beyond life to experience heaven. So just share a little bit with your guardian angel in the silence. Breathe in their love again. And as you're ready, you're not really saying goodbye, but it's farewell for this moment. And as you're ready, you can open your eyes. Yeah. See, and that's your guardian angel. It's easier to connect to your guardian angel. And then there's these amazing archangels. There's the biggest number you can imagine of angels. There's several million archangels, and there's only 144 great archangels. These are the first individuals in the angelic realm. So they are trillions of years old and have been evolving ever since. So we can connect to those great archangels. And so you experience an angel, but then to experience a great archangel is really even more magnificent. So tell me a little bit about what you experienced.
I definitely felt wings, and something really came to me that my father had a very dramatic incident a few years ago after my mom had passed away, where he passed out on an airplane going to a family wedding. And my brother was with him, and that airplane emergency landed. So my brother never made it to the wedding, neither did my father. I was already there. And then after the wedding was over, my brother asked, "Hey, can we switch places? You come here, and I'm going to, my family's still there, even though the wedding was over." So that's what happened. So I went, and I was just learning tarot, which is not something that I ever intended to do. But one of my coaches, Justin Michael Williams, who I'm a certified meditation facilitator with, one of his coaches is Brenda Rose, who teaches spirit guides and tarot. And I have a whole lot of questions around the difference between spirit guides and angels that have been coming to me. But anyway, to make this long story short, I was just learning the tarot, and there was something I kept drawing the temperance card, which is in her deck is wings on a heart. It's almost exactly what you described, and I started to feel. So I started to see that card. Again, the long story short is I just knew that whatever was going to happen, however I was going to get my dad out of there and back home, which I had no idea when they were going to release him, anything, because they really weren't sure what was going on, it was going to be okay. So finally, I got him released from the hospital, even though, I actually showed up at the hospital the next day, and he had all of his clothes on. I was like, "Who helped you get dressed?" He's like, "I got myself dressed." But they weren't ready to release him. It was a whole thing. But anyway, they finally did. I got us on a plane, and I made a deal with him. I said, "You cannot get up to go to the bathroom, because every time these incidents are happening is when you're getting up quickly." So make a deal, which required him to have to do something he didn't want, which was put a Depends diaper on or whatever. I had the guy whose name was Justin, by the way, the nurse's name was Justin at this hospital. I said, you have to do this for me. And he was like an angel. He did that. We got on the plane. We had to make a quick transfer. Sure enough, we were in first class. I'm sitting alongside my father, and I see him to start to get up. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, I have to go to the bathroom. I said, we made a deal. I don't care. Seatbelt off. So I follow him to the restroom, and I'm standing in the door. I'm not going to let him go by himself. And 5, 3, 2, 1, he passes out. And I just knew, I knew it was going to happen. And I stayed. I can't believe how calm I stayed. I'm not that person. I'm more louder. I just stayed calm. I saw there was breath. Looked around. A flight attendant came. She got on the thing. 3 more angels showed up. He came to very fast, and there was just this calm about the whole thing. But it was almost like I had predicted it was all going to happen. It was going to be okay. So that image kind of came back with me, because both we were up in the sky flying. The whole airplane applauded when my dad ended up going back to his seat. And it did allow, that incident allowed us to convince him to move into an elder care facility that was a beautiful place where he spent the last 2 years of his life. And when he did pass away, we learned from them a whole different version of my father. So you kind of brought that full circle for me, which is, this is supposed to be me interviewing you, but I think that was a beautiful, so that's what came to me, is that I feel that peace again instead of just the loss. And
Yes. Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And these angels they're so powerful. And again, that's just a guardian angel. There's angels you can experience, great archangels that are, I don't know, 1,000,000,000 times more powerful. Well, that's probably exaggeration. Certainly 1,000,000 times more powerful. But you see, you have to realize that even these guardian angels, these are aspects of divinity. And there is a misunderstanding some people have of our people who passed over angels. They're angelic, they're angel-like. They're not angels in the classic sense that we say angels, but can we connect to them, especially through angels? That often happens. Doesn't always happen, but it can certainly happen.
So on that, and I know you took a great, lovely bit of time with me there. The difference between a spirit guide and an archangel, can you have any distinction?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Also a common question. So angels, archangels, great archangels, now you know the difference. They're from the angelic realm. Angels are a form of spirit guides. Spirit guides is a non-physical guide that we can tap into, that's positive, that's of the light, that's of the spiritual light, right? That's beautiful, supernatural mentor. Angels are a form of spirit guides. Not all angels are spirit guides. Not all spirit guides are angels. There could be spirit guides that are ascended masters. Saint Germain and is an example. There are spirit guides that are from other realms, astral, cosmic, mental, etheric, soul, well beyond the soul level. There are spirit guides that are our former teachers, so we have resonance with them. There's all kinds of non-physical spiritual assistants, positive presences. Ultimately, Jesus, Buddha, Zoroaster, those are spirit guides. Very high spiritual guides, but they're spiritual guides. So angels, archangels are a form of spirit guides.
Beautiful. So this is called Claim Your Voice, and it used to be the voiceover pod. You had the experience of recording your book and your Angelic Ancestry. What was that experience like for you? Have you recorded another book before? And using your own voice, a lot of people don't have that gift, and there are ways of getting better at it. But what was that experience like for you? Because so many people do read through audio, and I imagine this book, oh my goodness, to be such a beautiful way to take in these messages.
It really does lend itself to audio. And it was a beautiful experience. I was an actress, as you mentioned. And so that did help, because the book has a lot of stories. I have at least a story every chapter, if not 2 or 3, because we learn through stories. And every story is 100%. Every story is absolutely true. Some people wanted the names changed, but I went and I interviewed each person, and I sent the stories, and I said, read this true, make sure everything is true. And everybody signed off. So it's all true. And a lot of it is told in story because it's fun. It's fun. And very deep, profound, esoteric book. And so I wanted it to have the depth in it, but also the fun and to be a fun book to read. And so it was fun to read for me because I got to act out the characters a bit. I had a couple professional actors. One of my best friends in life, lifelong friend, is Craig Sheffer, who's a very gifted actor, done 150 films. So it was fun. He came in to do, because it's an art, as you very well know. He came in to do it, and I'm like, he's like, any direction. He calls me Allie, and he's like, any direction. Now, this is a guy who's been directed by Robert Redford and Scorsese and etc. And I'm like, ooh, I feel powerful. And because again, we've been friends since I was 20 years old. And I said, yes, you're annoying. And he said, and he's in the booth. He's in the booth, and I'm like, you just did everything perfectly. Boom, one take everything. He's like, I've done it a timer of 300. So it is a skill. And for me, it was interesting because I was in the booth and an angel would come in to read different aspects, to read every chapter was a different angel. And sometimes I would feel like literally I wasn't there and I was just watching them. Like they would usually let me go fly around the sky while they read it. And you'll even hear my voice changes in the different chapters. And then certainly doing the meditations, I was in the meditation while I was reading the meditation. And so when people get the book, I very much recommend that they either get the audio book too, or they go to this QR code because I have recorded the meditations. And the meditations are written out in the book because it's a book, but I really recommend people go and listen to the meditation.
I think that's a must. If and when you get this book, you must get the audio and the paperback and the ebook and all the good things.
I know I'm a terrible salesperson, but you don't really have to get, if you love the book, yes, get both. I would, because then you have two different ways to read it.
I love getting both, but yeah.
But you could get just the paperback
and you'll still get the meditations.
You still get the meditations. Yes.
Beautiful. That's so beautiful. That is just a way 30 to 40% of readers are listening now.
I listen to most of my books because I'm hiking or I'm driving or I'm whatever. I love listening to them.
Yeah. So how much more time do I get with you? Can I have a few more
6 minutes? Yes.
Okay, 6 minutes. Okay. I want to hear a little bit about soul dance because it seems like it was such a big piece of your life and why you started it. And I love also, I was also trained in meditation. Doesn't have to just be sitting. And that helped me and has helped so many of my clients understand that meditation isn't this limiting thing. It's very expansive. And Lauren Roche, if you're familiar at all with the Radiant Sutras, he passed away this year. Sorry to say, but he taught a beautiful way of meditating that was allowed movement. So talk to us about soul dance and how you feel it has been received and why you did it for so long and gave so much money to charity, etc.
Oh, I donated 100% of the proceeds to charity. That's exactly what it was born of. It was born of moving meditation. So when I was an actress in New York City, people talk about, those were dancers there. And I felt like a pretend dancer, right? And so I was nervous to dance in public because I'm dancing with famous dancers. And then fast forward, I was now a spiritual devotee and starting to do my spiritual work. And I went to Egypt. And I started dancing spontaneously in the temples in Egypt, on the temples, and had all these spiritual experiences. And then I went to Israel, same thing, started dancing in the churches. And I came back out. And let me tell you, when I was in New York City, I was an actress and a model. And I also became one of the first female DJs in New York. And I would DJ at the big clubs. And a female DJ was, that was a big thing. Now it's,
great.
But then it was a big thing. And so now I had this love of spiritual, ecstatic dance, right? Using moving meditation. And I knew how to get people dancing. It's an art. It's an art. Now you can either clear a dance floor or you can keep people dancing. And so I put the two together. I was looking for a class because you go to these ecstatic dance classes, and let me be a little frank, the music was boring. It was all one beat, or it was very new agey. And I'm like, dang it, I want a beat, baby. Yeah. And so I put together my DJ skills with my spiritual facilitation skills, how to move the energy in a room, with my love of moving meditation. And so it became a moving meditation to darn good dance music. And people loved it. And I never charged for it. And the reason, 19 years straight in Santa Monica and LA, I did one was in a big ballroom space in Santa Monica, right at 21st and Wilshire. If people know it, if they know Santa Monica, it's right next to the Whole Foods, and a beautiful 200-year-old mansion in Midtown. Right. And so with murals on the ceiling of angels, of course. And so this became my give back. So I would do it if there was a disaster. I would donate all the proceeds. I donated all the proceeds to it, those that was at a nonprofit. My regular class, I did it around the world when there was when disaster relief was needed. Go and do a soul dance and donate all the proceeds. And it was just my joy. And absolutely, it started from this much movement and understanding how that outer movement was reflecting the inner movement and mentioning, coming full circle now, my very busy mind, my mind could not keep chattering while I was moving.
Exactly. Oh, I love that.
And
And
so I'm going to do that at the party you're going to on Tuesday. I'm going to do a little bit of soul dance.
That's a great transition. And I love it so much, Alisha, because I talk about connecting the inner and the outer voice so much. And I believe that the movement and the physicality is such a piece of it. And people don't, they're a little surprised, but when they get it, so much starts to happen. So let's talk about the book launch. Let's talk about the virtual. Let's talk about the party, all the things you want to share about this really exciting time in launching the book.
Thank you, my dear. July 18th, I'm not sure when this is being released, but hopefully soon. July 18th, Saturday, is the online launch, and that is with some of my dear friends and global spiritual teachers. So I'm going to be joined by Andrew Harvey, Marie Diamond, Sonia Choquette, and Robert Holden. And we're going to be talking everything angels. I'll be reading from the book. I'll be leading a meditation to your guardian angel again, but also to a great archangel, and then a third one to your angelic ancestry. Who are you as an archangel? And there'll be a raffle in that too for a session with me. I rarely do one-on-ones anymore, but there will be a raffle to a one-on-one.
And then having you on the podcast then. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, love. And then the last hour is a VIP hour where I'll be doing readings. I read past lives, chakras, auras, obviously angels. And so the launch is free. No, you just come show up. If you buy the book, literally just have to buy one book, you get the last hour with me and you can get a reading with me. And then there's already about 1,200 people signed up for Saturday, but I do know, having done this forever and a day, I do know how to read for one person and make it apply to everybody. And people have reported forever, oh my gosh, you were working with this one person. I felt all this stuff clear. And so that's July 18th, 10 to 1. And so that if you just go to aliciadoss.com, all of this is on my website, ALISH.
I'll be in the show notes. Okay, go
ahead. Thank you. DAS.com, aliciadoss.com. And then on the Tuesday, the 21st, Pub Day, my book is published with Hay House, Penguin Random House. We are having a party, baby. We are having a Grammy-nominated poet, Mark Marcel, who's going to read his poem. We're having NAMI, is the Native American Grammys, 2 times NAMI award-winning flutist, who used to be the flutist for Doreen Virtue, who was an angel author, and all original music with, his name is Edrin, Liz, who's a cellist, Joshua Hayes, who's shared the stage with Jackson Browne and Guns N' Roses. That's my son, actually singer-songwriter. So they're going to be doing original music. And then Jamie King, who is an actress and a supermodel and a director, is going to be hosting it. And she and Joshua and Pammy Hilton are going to, and yes, Paris's adopted little sister, are going to be, they actually seem like they were born to sing together, also doing original music. And then I'll be reading from the book, taking Q&A, doing some readings there. And then we are going to dance. And that is Tuesday, 5 to 8 p.m. And then if you are not able to make any of those, I'm always doing events, and those are on my website. Please buy the book, Your Angelic Ancestry.
Yes, buy the book, order the audio. You will be so uplifted. I am very honored that I will be there.
Yay!
Lots of fun photos and content to get in here. And I'm sad I have to let you go. So I want to ask maybe one final question, what is one belief that you unlearned that changed everything?
I have to be fixed to see the face of God.
have to be fixed to see the face of God. Beautiful. And then one more thing that you could leave us with. If it's hard to find your angel, what's the best thing to do?
First of all, to realize that's just a belief, and beliefs are meant to be challenged. And second of all, the biggest tip for that is again to take that divine pause in the silence to ask them a question. Why am I here? Whatever. What do I do about that? And then I want you to answer that question out loud, because that will bridge the human and the angelic. It will bridge heaven and earth. When you speak the answer out loud, it does two things. One, you hear your own wisdom informed by angels. And two, because you go, was that me or the angels? Who cares? We're all one. And two, what it does is it manifests the unmanifest. It brings audible the inaudible.
Beautiful. So just ask. And thank you for asking me to be here and for answering and coming. And I cannot wait to see you soon, collaborate more, and help the world see more angels. Get the book, everybody.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you for having me. It's been lovely being here with you.
Absolutely a delight. Thank you for coming to Claim Your Voice. We have really learned a lot about claiming the voices of angels today.
Exactly. All right. Bye-bye for now. Bye.
Thanks for joining me on Claim Your Voice. If something here sparked your inner voice or made you finally stop cringing at your own playback, share this episode with someone who needs it, because clarity creates connection. Connection creates opportunity, and your voice was never meant to stay quiet. And if you've got an idea about something you'd like to hear about on Claim Your Voice, send me an email or put some notes in the chat. Till next time, visualize the dream, vocalize the truth, and monetize the magic.